How easy do you find it to let go of your pieces once they're completed? Do you find yourselves wanting to tinker and revise? And do you find it easy to let go and embrace different interpretations of the works, or do you have a very specific idea for how performers should interpret your music? Well, we sort of covered a little bit of that, but the first part of it, how easy do we find it to let go of pieces? I mean, certainly from my point of view, it's different for different pieces, but for the most part, when I've written something, once it's done, I just jettison it from my mind, and it becomes another one to just go in the library or the archive of stuff that I have done. I won't obviously forget about it, but
do you ever revisit? Do you ever think, if you're kind of stuck with a deadline coming up and you've got a big piece, do you think, well, I might look at that smaller piece and see if there's something in there that I can take forward?
Yes, I do. I've done that on a number of occasions. I'm often quite enjoyably surprised when I come back to something of mine that I haven't heard for a long time. Part of the consequence, I think, of working the way I do, I don't know if it's the same for you, but because the studio and technology and the ability to get things into an audible form happens quite early on in my writing, and certainly I try and have recordings in some form of everything that I've done. It's nice to be able to come back and hear something afresh 6 months later, and you get a new perspective, on your own material.
Yeah.
Do you find the same?
Yeah, I do, and I'm just thinking that the last solo violin piece I wrote, which was a long time ago, maybe 20 years ago, which was based on an Anglo-Saxon poem, The Seafarer. It's a short piece, and I was just inspired by the poem, and it then became a piano trio version of the same thing with a narrator narrating the poem, and then from there it became a viola concerto, which was sort of a half an hour piece, one of my biggest pieces, using the same material again, but reworking it. And I see it as an opportunity really to learn from myself and to learn from my own material, learn what's in there. I think the whole process of orchestrating something is like Ravel orchestrated a lot of his piano works and said that was his process of development. So I think it's a very important thing for me, and I'm just wondering now, as we're talking, where this Entrada and Fuga are going to take me, because I'm quite sure they're going to sort of pop up somewhere else in some bigger form.
Yeah, so it's like a kind of it's not plagiarism is too strong a word. It's more allowing the material to develop organically into another form.
Yeah, so it's not going back and revising what you've done or rewriting it. It's like making yogurt. It's like having a little bit of the previous yogurt and you add milk and it becomes something else. It becomes another bigger pot of yogurt.
It's interesting you mentioned that analogy, because I have a very similar analogy for the writing process. Generally, for me, just in terms of sourdough bread, just making those processes where you literally just ferment ideas, and I find it's a good technique if I'm stuck on something. If I just can't get past a certain point in a piece, I decide to just sort of let it mature, sort of sit there like a bread fermentation, or used to, or like a nice cheese. Just leave it alone for a week, because actually what's going on in your subconscious brain, it's working out little ways forward and the consequences of the material.
And a lot of that process happens without it being conscious. I think it's like sleeping on it.
Yes.
You suddenly find you've got the solution, but you don't know where it came from.